Hey guys, so I'm gonna try a new video format for today. Um, I posted on my Instagram account asking people if they would be interested in a more philosophy kind of flipping channel where less of review kind of content and more of, let's just talk. Let's just get some thoughts out. And I think for today's episode, let's go into 1.5 mode, actually. I feel like that might be easier for me to focus on both flipping in my background as well as putting all my attention into talking. That way I don't have to worry about keeping my knife in the camera. But yeah, so I think what I want to do for today, or what I want to talk about for today's video is, have you ever failed before? I really just want to let you think about that question for a little bit, but if you can, come up with a time where you failed, and then try and think about why you failed. Not in the sense of like, oh, I failed because I failed my test because I didn't study. No, but like, what is failure? Why does that moment count as a failure and not anything else? Okay. Is failure just the inability to meet expectations? Is failure giving up? Is failure something else? Well, today I kind of want to just discuss this topic because recently I think I encountered what I thought to be a failure, but perhaps maybe it's not. And so I'll explain that now. So, as some may know, it is currently Easter weekend, and I go to a Catholic university. So, in the nature of a break, teachers always try to cram in one last exam before students go away for break, And I had a big exam on the last day before break. Now, this was an exam in a class that is almost like a gen ed, There's tons of people in this class. I think like 400 people took this test, basically. So there's like 400 people enrolled in this single class. Now, the first test we had in this class, I'm not going to lie, guys, I got a 100% on the test. That was no curve, that was completely raw score, and I studied for maybe like 10 hours for this test. I studied almost 4 or 5 days in advance. Now, the second test came around, and I knew it was going to be a little bit harder. I knew the material was tougher, it was building on the last chapters, and I knew I would have to put a little bit more effort into studying, maybe be more conscious of what I'm actually doing, maybe do some more practice, whatnot. Well, I do actually study. I study for maybe like a total of 15 hours for this exam. And I took the exam and I failed. I got a 72%. And I came out of that exam feeling worthless. I felt like this was some kind of failure that I had never experienced before. Now, I have generally been considered a academic weapon by most people's standards. I try hard in school, and because of that, I've never really bombed a test or anything, And so, now that I'm in college, this is my first year, obviously people say like, oh yeah, like high school's so easy compared to college, or sometimes they say the opposite. Either way, people always say, you have bad tests, It's just a bad day, everybody makes mistakes. And I always thought, you know what? No, not me. Not me. I'm never going to have a bad test because I'm always going to put in my best effort. Well, I put in my best effort and I didn't see the same results that I expected. Is that a failure? I looked at this grade and it made me feel worthless. Now, that was a couple days ago, and I've had some time to think about it. Okay. And though I initially thought I failed, and that this was, a devastating moment in my life, I think I've come to realize that I actually didn't fail. What really happened is not something that I can explain. I studied, I put my best effort in, and I got to that exam, and the dice just didn't roll my way. I just didn't get a good pair of cards. And that's okay. That's A-okay. The real failure would be if I just only settled with that score. If I never tried to do better. If I couldn't get past it. The failure would have been if I loomed on this grade as if it meant my whole life. Failure doesn't mean not meeting your expectations. Failure means giving up. Sorry guys, somebody called me and I had to pause the video real quick, but yeah, I think this moment, this experience, has taught me that failure doesn't just mean that you perform poorly. Failure doesn't just mean that something doesn't work out for you. Failure means dwelling on the negative. Failure means looking at that lack of performance, looking at that misfortune, and saying that's all there is to look at. It's in saying that, you know what? I am worthless. This experience, this bad memory, this moment, it defines my life and it makes my life meaningless. That's a failure. And I was in that state. I was in that state for some very, very long hours after that exam, let's just say. I got my results right away. And the more I think about it, the more I just put it into perspective. Let's be honest, guys. Shit happens, okay? Not everything is within our control. We can try our best, and sometimes it's just not going to work out, and that's okay, right? I think about this exam, and, I think about my family. I think about, my health. I think about my education. I think about my friends. I think about my house. I think about the fact that I'm alive. Would I trade any of these things for a better grade on that test? Absolutely freaking not. Not in a million years. Okay? I have so much to be appreciative of. Okay? I may want to be perfect, but I'm not. And this was a good realization for that. And it's not that, I'm not perfect, so I should just give up. It's, I'm not perfect. So maybe there's more to life than trying to be perfect. If you can't be perfect, that doesn't mean you should just give up. That means try your hardest because it's trying that matters, not being perfect. Let me know about your guys' thoughts. If you like this type of content, these type of videos, I'd love to talk about more things. leave some comments. If you have any question or topic ideas that you want me to talk about, I'll try to talk about any of my past experiences and give any of my any or all information, knowledge, thoughts that I have about whatever it is. I'm trying to do more of a philosophical kind of video, like I said before. So if you guys end up liking this kind of content, I will gladly keep doing it. It's almost a way for me to journal, express thoughts, and also just connect, and really get used to opening up my mind and just expressing ideas that I kind of feel like I have no one to express them to. And I think a lot of the times we isolate ourselves thinking that no one will understand, and in reality, a lot of people will understand, A lot of people will have a moment in their life where they think they failed. But I think even more people will need to hear that they actually didn't fail. They just needed to realize they needed to keep going. They needed to realize what matters. Okay? And I just want to share ideas, discussions, lessons like that to people. I've always had a passion for deep thinking and philosophical ideas. And so combining that with, butterfly knife flipping or balisong content is a good way to, kill two birds with one stone, as the saying goes. So, for those of you that are Christian or religious in any way, have a happy Easter. And for all of those that think you failed, never give up. Because in life, it's not about being perfect. It's about always trying. Thanks for listening.